Hey, good morning and welcome to Frog Watch Friday. I'm glad to have you this morning, and I am changing directions a little bit. A lot of times I will focus on what are the generic kinds of things that you can do to avoid frauds and scams, because I think we all need to be aware of those general things that we can do. But I think this morning I'd like to talk about 8 actual scams that are happening right now. They are very, very current. They're very frequent in the Kansas and Missouri area. And there's something that I think maybe we should just bring to the fore and make people aware of. So each one of them, some of them are self-explanatory, and I won't go into a lot of detail about it, but some of them need a little sidebar of explanation, and so we will go into that. First, let me list the 8 things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about first the Google Voice scam. Now, if you don't know what Google Voice is, we can talk about that for a little bit, but the Google Voice scam is becoming very, very popular just recently. There's the rental assistance con. That's people who are offering you assistance in rental. If you should be like from COVID, you've lost your home, or some situation has occurred where you really need to find another home quickly. The rental assistance con is the second scam we're going to talk about. The third scam is fake job frauds. And this is one people don't think about a lot. When they're looking for a job, they're looking for a job, and they're really focused on what would be good for me, what would be a good fit, what's close, what pays well, etc. And that has caused a lot of fake job frauds. So that's number 3. Number 4 are fake Amazon employees. Most of us use Amazon at least sometime during the year. We order something online and we trust Amazon to be a place to provide it. But more and more, Amazon has fake employees who are trying to scam us. Number 5 is cryptocurrency ATM payments. This deserves some discussion, I think, because a lot of us, myself included, are not fully informed about what cryptocurrency is and how it works and what you can do with it. So when we're not very well informed about something, that makes it ripe for some kind of a scam to take place surrounding that. Number 6 is tax imposters, whether they be local, state, or federal. There are lots of tax imposters. That's people who claim to be working for some kind of a taxing entity, federal, state, county, or municipal, and they're trying to get to your money. That's number 6. Number 7 is do a favor for a friend gift card. And I attack gift card on the end because it's most often gift cards that they ask for. And I've said time and time again, gift cards are for gifts, they're not for criminals. So we'll talk for a minute or two about that one, but I think it's pretty common. I think people are aware of it. Whether they're well aware of it or can be scammed by it is a different story, but I think they are aware of that one. And the last one I want to talk about, and I need to spend a little bit of time on it as well, is P2P payments, P2P requests. P2P are peer-to-peer payments or payment requests. And there's lots of scam that surrounds these things. So let's go a little deeper into those 8 things and see what can be said about each one. Let's say, for instance, for a Google Voice scam, let's start with what is Google Voice? I've never heard of Google Voice. Well, if you use Gmail at all, when you go to your Gmail account to read your Gmail or to send a Gmail, you will notice over at the side a series of links that that Google offers you a way to go instantly from Gmail to another part of Google. One of those links will be to Google Chat. Google Chat is simply a chat room where you and one other or several other people can chat with each other. If you go to Google Voice, it's like television. You can see each other, you can talk to each other, you can actually interact with each other. And you may have used some other program for this before. You may have used WhatsApp or, there are half a dozen of them where you can see and talk to another person online. Well, Google Voice has been ignored for quite a while. People weren't used to it. They did Google Chat a little bit, but mostly they used Google for Gmail. Lately, Google Voice has picked up in popularity, and anything that becomes very, very popular becomes subject to frauds and scams. The fraud and scam people, the criminals who follow what is currently popular, what is currently online a lot, what is currently available to people, what are people currently doing, what's currently in the news. Anything that is in the here and now makes it subject to frauds and scams. Now, let's say you posted a notice online, an item for sale, for example, or maybe a request to help you find a lost pet. Now, that's perfectly legitimate, and it's included in this will likely be your phone number, your email, some way to contact you. Well, in this Google Voice scam, the crook will call you. They'll pretend they're interested in what you've lost or what you have for sale, but they'll say they want to verify first that you aren't a scammer. And they're going to tell you that you're about to get a verification code from Google Voice, which is their virtual phone and text service. You're about to get a verification code sent to you, and they will ask you to read it back to them as verification that you're not scamming them, that you really do have this item for sale. Well, here's what's really going on. They're setting up a Google Voice account in your name. Now, they have a Google Voice account that is tied to your name, and they can go on to perpetrate scams and pretend to be you, hiding their footprint from law enforcement forevermore. You will likely hear, if that's ever happened to you, you'll likely hear about it because they will try scamming other people. They will try getting people to do things they would not likely do, and that will be traced back to you, and you are likely going to be accused of some inappropriate behaviors that you're not guilty of at all. Now, my take on Google Voice is that it's a wonderful, wonderful piece of technology. But like most pieces of technology, you have to be very, very cautious in the way that you use it. The trick to this is never, ever share a verification code with anyone else. You get those codes from your bank, you get those codes from your credit card company, you get those codes from all sorts of businesses that you do business with, and they're good for verifying that you're really on that company, but they're not meant to be shared. And the people who perpetrate the Google Voice scam usually, I won't say usually, I will say always ask you to read the verification code back to them so they can verify that you are you. That's probably the last you'll ever hear from them, but I'll bet you're going to hear from other people pretty quickly. So we want to keep our eyes open all the time for all the scams. We don't want to go under the ether for anything, but we really want to look out for the Google Voice scam if we decide to use Google Voice. The rental assistance con is our second one. And this has become prevalent because during the COVID shutdown, during the time that people were protected from being tossed out of their apartment, 583,000 older adults grew behind in their rent. By mid-2021, there were even more. This just opened the door for scammers to impersonate government or nonprofit employees and to request personal information and money up front for all kinds of applications. You can read usually online, or you might get a phone call. There'll be some communication effort to you to let them help you find a reasonable place to rent. And of course, you welcome that if you've lost your home, if you're about to be kicked out, you want any kind of assistance that you can get. I think the answer to this one is always be doubtful, always double check that you're on a legitimate rental assistance program. What you might do is if someone has called you and they made you an offer that sounds really, really attractive, ask if they have a name that you can look up to find a phone number to call back to determine that they're legitimate. If they are, they will not be offended by that. If they aren't, they might just hang up on you. There is also a website called cfpb.gov. cfpb.gov. This is a legitimate rental program, and they will offer you help in finding reasonable rental assistance without worry of getting scammed over the deal. So if you're in the market for a new rental, regardless of the reason, just be sure that any assistance you get, and you may not need any assistance, you may be able to find the place on your own, but any assistance that you get is a legitimate one. And one of the best ways to check that out is to call them back, hang up and call them back to find out if they are real. Don't use the phone number they gave you. Find it another way, either through a directory or online or whatever. The third one is fake job frauds. And as I've said before, scammers harvest contact information and personal details from resumes that you posted on legitimate websites like Indeed, Monster, Career Builder. Those are all legitimate sites, and they can get the information about you pretty easily. Then they pretend to be recruiters, and they'll call, they'll email, they'll text, or they'll reach out on social media with very high salary or work at home or part-time but high paid job offers for you. Sometimes the goal is to get additional information about you, but other times it's to persuade you to send money for home office setups or for a finder's fee or for some kind of a fake reason. They can get the money from you so that they can give you information about the job, which is not true information. How do you stay safe from a scam like this? It's pretty difficult because your resume's out there and they've got the initial kind of information that they need. One thing that I would suggest as a way to avoid getting taken is if the call comes out of the blue, if somebody calls and says they have job offers for you, and it's in general, it's like all these different kinds of opportunities, consider it a scam automatically. As a matter of fact, if you don't initiate the call, be suspicious, because if the call comes to you without reason, it's probably a scam. However, on the job situation, you want people to call, you want people to email. So try using a separate email address just for job hunting. You can also set up a free Google Voice phone number that will make your phone ring, but it'll keep your real number private. There's a legitimate use for Google Voice if you decide to use it. If you get a sudden job offer, independently call the company's human resources department to verify that it is real, that it is genuine, and that they're really offering this to you. If you follow general principles of safety, be suspicious, call them back, use separate email addresses, use Google Voice to make your phone ring, but make it ring without their finding out what your phone number is for real. You should be able to stay reasonably safe, and best of luck in finding that new job. There are a lot of them out there right now. Let's talk for just a minute about fake Amazon employees. 1/3 of business imposter fraud complaints involve scammers claiming that they're from Amazon. A problem with this is it's not only hard to track, but Amazon, being the huge organization that it is, doesn't do a lot of tracking themselves, and the tracking they do, they don't share with other people. They're not very open about how many imposter situations, how many frauds, how many scams. We know that older adults are 4 times more likely to lose money and get harder hit. They lose a median of $1,500 for every scam that takes place versus $814 for younger adults. Neither one of those are any fun to lose, but $1,500 means a lot to most older Americans versus $814 might be something somebody younger can at least make up for. Amazon is the biggest, best known company in online sales that we know of. Amazon is it's the place where we go to find things. So the impersonator scams always feel real to people. It might be a fake website. It might be a fake storefront. It most often is a fake employee. Someone who calls you and tells you, someone has compromised your account. If you can give me some of your personal information, we can get it back on the straight and narrow. We can give you a new one. We can reorganize it so that you're not in trouble anymore. Or you didn't pay for your last order, you're going to be shut off of Amazon, or there are any number of things they can call you. But one of the ways to stay safe is to ignore all calls, all text messages, all emails, and all social media messages about suspicious account activity or that you did not generate. I think a lot of people feel like if they get a text out of the blue, if they get a call out of the blue, oh, that must be real. The oldest trick in the world is to get you to be scared enough that you can't think clearly. And what fake Amazon employees do is to scare you into thinking so that you can't think clearly. If someone offers you a raffle or tells you that there's an unauthorized purchase on your account or emails you about problems with your account or calls you up, ignore it. Ignore it. Don't pay any attention. If you think you might really have an account problem, there is a customer support number. That number is 888-280-4331. That's 888-280-4331. Call them and ask them if there's a problem. Don't just assume because you got the call or the text that there's a problem, because there's a lot of frauds and scams going on with Amazon. Cryptocurrency ATM payments. This is another thing that a lot of people are really, really up for, but there are just as many of us who don't understand it. And I'm including myself in that. Cryptocurrency doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't have a lot to do with it. I don't have anything to do with it, simply because it's just a foreign notion that I don't understand. And most things I'm willing to learn about, but cryptocurrency has so many scams, so many frauds, so many things going on, plus so many opportunities to lose your money and never regain it, that I've just ignored trying to learn any more about it. Because a lot of people haven't ignored it, they even have ATMs that are in convenience stores and gas stations and grocery stores and big retailers. And those ATMs can dispense to you cryptocurrency. Don't ask me how. I don't know that much about cryptocurrency, and I know I stay away from those machines. But if you don't, you want to be very, very cautious, because ATM involving cryptocurrency are one of the scammers' newest payment methods. They usually pretend to be government officials or utility agents or sweepstakes representatives. They usually pretend to be someone else. This is part of the ever so popular imposter schemes that are taking place. And they direct you to pay a fee or a bill or a handling charge by sending cryptocurrency that you bought at these ATMs to an untraceable digital wallet. What you have to remember is anytime you send cryptocurrency anywhere, that money is gone. It's irreversible. It's not insured by the federal government. There is no way to get your money back. So, according to the Federal Trade Commission, nobody from the government or law enforcement or a utility company or a prize promoter will ever tell you to pay them with cryptocurrency. If someone asks you to pay them for cryptocurrency and it's someone you don't know, it's a scam every time. So I think maybe my staying away from cryptocurrency altogether isn't such a bad idea. But we're going to talk about tax imposters for just a minute. And I think this one is fairly familiar to a lot of people, but it's still going on at a pretty high rate. It involves scammers impersonating federal, state, county, and municipal law enforcement or tax collection agencies. What they're trying to do is to get you to share sensitive personal information or to send money to, quote, settle your tax debt. They may call, email, or mail letters threatening to revoke your driver's license or your passport, and some pretend to offer state or federal tax relief. Remember this: any such call is a scam. Any such email is a scam. Tax agencies, whether they're from IRS, from your city, from your state, they do business by mail, and they will not ask you for passwords or bank account or credit card information, and they will not threaten to call the police. They will not ask you to pay with gift cards, P2P, that is peer-to-peer payments, or cryptocurrency. Never, ever, ever will a tax person who is genuine ask you such things. They will not call you or email you, so it's safe to ignore those calls and emails, regardless of how threatening they are. Number 7, the favor a friend gift cards. Most of us, I think, have been, at least people have intended to scam us with this. You receive an email from a friend asking for a favor, she's having trouble with her credit card or with your store account, and she can't buy a gift card that she really needs for a birthday present. So will you buy the card and call her with the numbers on the back? There may be variations of this. It might be your grandchild. It might be somebody you don't know very well, but they're really in a desperate situation. At any time you are asked to pay for something with a gift card, it is a scam. That's a pretty easy fix. Remember, if they're asking you to pay with a gift card for any reason, it's a scam. Don't fall for it. And gift card scams are really, really, really rampant right now. The last one is P2P payment requests or peer-to-peer payment requests. This is money transfer applications like Venmo or Zelle or Cash App. Quite often, those things are attached to your bank account. They're the way that your bank allows you to send instant money to someone else, and they are legitimate when they're legitimately used. They're very convenient. You can pay people in seconds from your phone or from your computer. I just bought tickets from a friend who bought tickets for all of us to go to a particular play and then told us how much it was, and I sent that money to them by Zelle. But here's the clue to that. Whatever app you're using, and the most popular ones I've named already, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, whatever app you're using, use it only with friends and family, people that you know, people that you are aware of and trust. If you use it with anyone else, someone who's called you and said, well, just send it using Zelle. I have a Zelle account. If they're asking you to send money immediately, that's a signal right there. That's a warning right there. But if they're asking you to send money immediately and they suggest one of these ways, you need to remember that if you pay with a P2P app, you'll never see that money again. It's not retrievable. You can't get it back. Your bank can't help you get it back. You have to just consider it gone. Consider it a lost cause. Because of that, I do use these cash apps. They're very convenient ways to pay friends and family, but I don't use it with anyone else except friends and family. That would be my suggestion for staying clear of that. Well, there you have it. Those are the 8 top scams happening in Missouri and Kansas right now. I hope you found at least one of those things helpful. And I hope you will tune in again to AARP Fraud Watch, the third Wednesday in August. We really are happy to see you every time you come. And we're really happy to know that something we said made a difference in your being frauded or scammed. In the meantime, have a good month, and we'll see you in August. Bye-bye.